smaller than the smallest, greater than the greatest. There is nothing called infinity, minus infinity, though we put a limit, because within our limited understanding of science, technology, or spirituality, or whatever you say, we restrict ourselves and we say plus infinity and minus infinity. The theory of Aleph naught, we say. Then, our ancient scriptures talk about the Parabrahma, many words. In fact, I'm trying to bring out a kind of a logical exposition to Brahma Sutra. After going through this Brahma Sutra for many, many years, about 30, 40 years, I thought that I should do something, because the Western philosophers, scientists, they say that our Indian philosophy is mystic science, and all our activities are obscurantistic. We try to hide things, we try to talk. We are linguistic experts, but we want to disprove that. Not only we are linguistic experts, we are mathematical experts too. As I told you in the morning, we look at the nature. All physical objects, they are perceived in the framework of mathematics. Mathematics is perceived in the framework of logic. Logic is perceived in the framework of philosophy. There are three kinds of philosophies, he said. And the philosophies you could understand only in the framework of faith. Faith is not obtained, it is given to you. So without His mercy, we don't get that faith. We can say that I have this faith, that faith and all, but it was a blessing from God Almighty. So, I would like to just bring out a particular sloka. Many people, when they do yajna, generally these people say this. I'm not an expert in that, but let me try to reproduce. I'm not a scholar, but still, let me try to reproduce this. Om Hiranyagarbha Samavartatagre Bhutasya Jata Patireka Asit Sadadhara Prithivim Dhyamute Mam Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhema. So, people talk about Hiranyagarbha. They equate it to Bhagavan. Bhagavan cannot be explained. You cannot explain the ultimate divine. You can perceive, you can understand. The moment you understand, you will not be able to say about it. Just you understand, keep quiet. So it's up to every individual to understand Bhagavan. But in the deductive theory, the logical theory of space, time and consciousness, I wanted to tell you that Hiranyagarbha could be a model, a kind of a model, philosophical model of Bhagavan. And what is the Hiranyagarbha? In the scientific terms, we call that Hiranyagarbha as Einstein-Minkowski Space. Einstein-Minkowski Space, it is a space consisting of all spaces. The time consisting of all times. So how does it comprise? What is that maketh the Einstein-Hilbert's, the Minkowski space? A small exposition I have made, I would like to tell you. Let us build the theory like this, because this is a Yuva Goshti. I would like to motivate the youngsters to think like this. We call, in the physics term, in the terminology of physics, we call an entity is an indivisible one. Whether it is a physical entity, chemical entity, or any entity, philosophical entity, psychological entity, anything that is perceived as a whole is called an entity. There are two types of entities. One is abstract entity, the other one is concrete entity. Abstract entity is the one which is perceived by one sense perception. For example, mirage. There's an example I can give you. You know, this Indradhanush. This is another example. You'll be able to see, you can perceive by visual perception, you can have an idea about, whereas you cannot touch it, you cannot smell it. So we're able to perceive an entity by more than two sensory perceptions. It's called objective entity. Physics deals with objective entities. Concrete entities. Then, all great people, they have a kind of a third eye, the third eye wisdom. They're able to see different dimensions, physical dimensions. They're well above this. Computer scientists say hypercube architecture of processors. So like that, multiples of, we say n-dimension space, multiples of dimensions, above physical dimensions, x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, and time, all this is well above that. So you perceive. A person who perceives, suppose I perceive somebody, I see Lord Rama here, I perceive. He is visible to me, but he is not visible to you. So in that case, that entity becomes a subjective entity. If the entity is observed by more than one observer, then it is called objective entity. So physics deals with objective entities and concrete entities. That's all. I told you in the morning, entire science and technology is a subset of Vedic science. Like this I would like to prove. Now, you have an objective concrete entity in front of you. In quantum mechanical paradigm, in an orbital, an electron or subatomic particle appears, it disappears. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle says that a particle, you can measure its velocity at the cost of the precision of its position. You would like to precisely locate the position of a subatomic particle at the cost of the position of its velocity, you will be able to do. The SPD of orbitals, you can know. Most of the people, science people, they can understand this very easily. So, sudden appearance and sudden disappearance, these are the elementary events. So what is time? Time is an event that occurs. What are the elementary events? Sudden appearance of an entity. I appeared suddenly here. I disappeared from here suddenly. These are the two elementary quantum mechanical propositions. Components and other people, they said. The quantum logic is based on this only. Now, motivation. So the sudden appearance, the disappearances, if you join, concatenate them, it becomes a macro event. So, we are attached to macro events. For every observer, there is a lifeline. It's called world line. So all the world lines, you see, suppose 100 people are there, 100 world lines are there, available simultaneously. So infinite such world lines put together, it's known as Einstein-Minkowski space. Now, we introduce the concept of now. Then you have a past and future. The past and future are divided or understood by the presence of now. If you cut open, you get a full section view of the world space. It's called word order. So word order exists. Word order moves with respect to time. If we are able to visualize or expand this window of perception or perception window to a certain extent, let's say delta t or something, then you will be able to see the activities, the actions, reactions, cause and effect simultaneously happening. If you are able to expand limit delta t tends to infinity, in that case you see the past, present and future. It means there is no now. You become Trikalagni, Trikala Darshan. You understand everything. Right in front of you, everything is happening. It is there. The time is frozen. The moment you introduce